Hay called her a survivor, but the human uncovered a galactic legend. The reluctant Guardian Corporal Naomi Rhodes kicked the broken sensor drone with enough force to send it skittering across the rocky surface of Terex 9. Her breath fogged the inside of her helmet as she cursed. Nothing but malfunctioning equipment and acid rain, she muttered into her comm. Tell Commander Patel this moon is as dead as his sense of humor. Copy that, Rhodes, came the bored voice of Lieutenant Jasper. Just finish your sweep and get back to the station. Storms brewing in Sector 4. Naomi glanced at the horizon where ominous clouds swirled like bruises against the sickly green sky. Terex 9 was notorious for its corrosive downpours, strong enough to eat through standard-issue boots in minutes. Just another delightful feature of her assignment to this backwater research station. Heading back now. Just need to check. She stopped as something flashed in her peripheral vision. A streak of light cutting through the clouds, trailing smoke and debris. Hold that thought, we've got an incoming. Incoming what? Jasper's voice sharpened. Ship. Small transport, maybe. Going down about 2 clicks west of my position. Rhodes, do not investigate. Return to base immediately. Naomi was already moving, her boots crunching against the brittle surface. Sorry, Lieutenant, transmission breaking up. She clicked off her comm and picked up her pace. The crashed vessel came into view as she crested a ridge. It wasn't military, at least not any design she recognized from the United Earth Forces. The hull was sleek, composed of interlocking, silver-blue panels that seemed to absorb the meager light rather than reflect it. Steam hissed from fractures in the outer shell, and a trail of debris marked its violent entry through the atmosphere. Definitely not human, she murmured, approaching with her pulse rifle raised. And definitely not supposed to be here. The entry hatch had been partially sheared off in the crash. Naomi ducked inside, activating her helmet lights. The interior was surprisingly intact, minimal damage beyond what the crash had caused. No bodies. No blood. Just an eerie blue glow emanating from what appeared to be the cockpit. That's when she saw her. At first glance, the figure slumped. Over the navigation console appeared humanoid. 2 arms, 2 legs, upright posture. But as Naomi drew closer, the differences became apparent. The skin was pale lavender, almost translucent, with intricate markings that pulsed faintly beneath. The surface. Long, elegantly pointed ears extended backward into a cascade of silver-white hair. Hey, Naomi said, prodding the figure with her rifle. You alive in there? The alien didn't respond, but Naomi could see the shallow rise and fall of her chest. She was breathing at least, and bleeding from a nasty gash across her forehead, the blood an unusual cobalt blue. Naomi sighed and glanced at the approaching storm. Perfect, just perfect. Leave it to me to find the galaxy's only wounded alien princess during an acid storm. Against her better judgment, she slung her rifle and carefully lifted the unconscious alien. Despite wearing what appeared to be some kind of battle armor, lightweight plates of an unknown alloy that hummed faintly against Naomi's gloves. The alien weighed surprisingly little. You'd better not be carrying any parasites, Naomi grumbled, making her way back to her rover. Or have acidic blood, or mind control spores. I've seen those movies. The first drops of rain began to fall as she secured the alien in the passenger seat. Caustic droplets that steamed where they hit the rover's protective shell. Naomi gunned the engine and headed for the research station, already composing her explanation for Commander Patel. The station, nicknamed the Rust Bucket by its 50-person crew, was a prefabricated eyesore half buried in Terex 9's unstable crust for protection against the storms. Naomi bypassed the main entrance and guided her rover directly into the auxiliary garage, hoping to avoid immediate notice. No such luck. Lieutenant Jasper was waiting, arms crossed and expression thunderous. Rhodes, what part of return to base immediately was unclear to you? He began, then froze as he spotted her passenger. What in the 7 hells is that? Survivor from the crash, Naomi replied, already hoisting the alien over her shoulder. Needs medical, questions later. To his credit, Jasper recovered quickly. Medbay 3, I'll get Dr. Orson. 20 minutes later, the alien lay on an examination table while Dr. Orson, a weathered woman with more experience treating exotic xenobiology than anyone else in the sector, ran a scanner over the still unconscious form. "Fascinating," she murmured. "Bipedal humanoid, but the internal structure. Entirely different respiratory system, dual cardiovascular networks, and these markings." Her fingers hovered over the pulsing patterns beneath the alien's skin. Some form of bioluminescent communication, perhaps. Commander Patel loomed in the doorway, his expression unreadable. "Is it dangerous?" Naomi corrected before she could stop herself. "And I don't know." She was alone in the ship. "Which doesn't explain why you disobeyed a direct order, Corporal." Naomi straightened. "With respect, sir, we're a research outpost. This is literally what we're here for." Before Patel could respond, the alien moved. In one fluid motion too fast to track, she was upright, one hand clasped around Dr. Orson's throat. A blade, seemingly materialized from nowhere, hovered inches from the doctor's jugular. "Where am I?" The alien's voice was melodic but sharp, each word precisely enunciated. Her eyes were solid silver, with vertical pupils that contracted in the bright lights of the medbay. Naomi raised her hands slowly. "You're on Terex 9 at a human research station. Your ship crashed. I brought you here. Nobody wants trouble." The alien's gaze fixed on her, unblinking. You were there." "Yes. I'm Corporal Naomi Rhodes, United Earth Forces. That's Dr. Orson you're choking, and she was trying to help you." After a tense moment, the alien released the doctor, who stumbled back, gasping. The blade disappeared as mysteriously as it had appeared. "My apologies," the alien said. "Caution is necessary." "Who are you?" Patel demanded from the doorway, his hand hovering near his sidearm. The alien regarded him coolly. "You may call me Zara." She touched her armor, which seemed to ripple in response. "My vessel?" "Wrecked," Naomi said. "Salvageable parts maybe, but it won't fly again." Zara's expression didn't change, but something flickered in those metallic eyes. Calculation, perhaps, or resignation. "Then I am in your debt, Corporal Rhodes." She inclined her head slightly. "Temporarily." Alarms blared suddenly, red emergency lights flooding the corridor. Jasper's voice crackled over the station's comms. "Unidentified vessels entering orbit. 4 craft on approach vector." Zara tensed. "They found me faster than anticipated." "Who found you?" Naomi demanded. "The hegemony. They've been hunting me across 7 systems." Zara's gaze was steady. "They will destroy this entire facility to find me." Patel was already moving. "Battle stations. All personnel to defensive positions." "That won't help," Zara said quietly. "Your weapons are ineffective against their shields." Naomi caught her arm. "Then what do you suggest?" "I need to reach the communications array. I can send a pulse that will disrupt their tracking systems. Temporarily." "Why should we trust you?" Zara's lips curved in the barest suggestion of a smile. "Because, Corporal Rhodes, I am currently the only thing standing between you and orbital bombardment." Something in her tone, absolute certainty without a hint of boasting, made Naomi pause. "Fine, follow me." As they raced through the corridors, Naomi couldn't shake the feeling that there was something familiar about Zara. Not her personally, but something about her presence. It was only when they reached the comms center and Zara began reconfiguring the equipment with practiced ease that it clicked. "You're military," Naomi said. "High-ranking." Zara didn't look up from her work. "Once. But those markings, I've seen them before. In briefings about the Lithari rebellion." Naomi's eyes widened. "Wait, you're not just any Lithari. You're Zara Vexlora, the Starborn." Now Zara did look up, her silver eyes sharp. "That name is dead, has been for 15 cycles. But you're a legend, the only commander who ever defeated the hegemony in open battle. They said you died at the gates of Ashkara." Sometimes legends should stay dead, Corporal. Zara activated the pulse, and the station trembled as energy surged through the communications array. It's safer for everyone. Outside, the approaching ships faltered, their engines flaring as they lost their tracking lock. Zara straightened. That buys us perhaps 2 hours. For what? To disappear. Zara's expression was impassive. Unless you wish to be here when they return with reinforcements. Naomi looked at her, really looked at her. Beyond the alien features and strange armor was something painfully familiar. The weight of command, of lives lost, of battles fought without hope of victory. We have a scout ship, she said finally. Fast, stealthy. Not pretty, but it'll get us off-world. Us? You think I'm staying here to explain how I let a legendary alien commander hijack our comms array and then escape? Not a chance. Naomi checked her sidearm. Besides, someone needs to make sure you don't crash again. For the first time, something like genuine amusement crossed Zara's face. Very well, Corporal Rhodes, it seems destiny has made us reluctant companions. As they prepared for departure, neither noticed the small tracking device that pulsed quietly beneath Zara's armor. A beacon broadcasting across the stars, calling to hunters more dangerous than either could imagine. Echoes of resistance. The scout ship, affectionately named Vesper by its previous pilot, sliced through the darkness of space with all the grace of a wounded predator. Inside, Naomi Rhodes checked the navigation system for the 3rd time, confirming they'd left no traceable ion trail. We should be clear of Terex 9's tracking range, she announced, leaning back in the pilot's seat. Though I'm still not convinced. We shouldn't have warned the others. Zara Vexalora stood by the viewport, her silver eyes reflecting the distant stars. Your warning would have changed nothing except to mark them as conspirators. The hegemony is thorough in its punishments. That's comforting, Naomi muttered. She watched as Zara examined her armor, fingers tracing over the intricate patterns that seemed to shift like liquid metal. So, are we going to talk about it? About what, Corporal? About how the supposedly dead legendary commander of the greatest resistance movement in the Outer Rim is now standing in my stolen scout ship? Naomi crossed her arms. That kind of thing usually comes with a story. A faint smile touched Zara's lips. Most stories are embellished beyond recognition. Try me. I've got a pretty good bullshit detector. Before Zara could respond, the ship's proximity alert blared. Naomi swung back to the console, her fingers dancing across the controls. That's impossible. They shouldn't have. The tracker, Zara said suddenly, her voice tight. She ripped open a seam in her armor to reveal a pulsing red device embedded near her shoulder. With one swift motion, she extracted it and crushed it between her fingers. They tagged me during the crash. Naomi's eyes widened. Great, and now? Now we run. Zara moved to the co-pilot seat. Bearing 272, Mark 18. There's an asteroid field in the Carillion belt. The magnetic properties of the rock will confuse their sensors. It'll confuse our sensors too, Naomi pointed out even as she adjusted course. Then it's fortunate one of us doesn't rely on sensors to navigate. The pursuing ships appeared on the long-range scanner, 3 interceptors, sleek and predatory, bearing the ominous black and crimson markings of the hegemony's elite hunter squadrons. Naomi pushed the Vesper's engines past recommended limits, the entire frame shuddering in protest. They're gaining, she said through gritted teeth. This bucket wasn't built for outrunning military-grade interceptors. Zara's hands joined Naomi's, on the controls, making micro-adjustments that somehow coaxed more speed from the straining engines. The Vesper has spirit. She will not fail us. You're anthropomorphizing my ship now? All vessels have souls, Corporal Rhodes. Especially those that carry us between the stars. The first shots from the pursuers lanced past the viewport, superheated plasma that would have reduced the Vesper to scrap with a direct hit. Naomi jinked hard to port, then dove into the approaching asteroid field, a chaotic jumble of massive rocks and ice chunks tumbling through the void. What followed was a harrowing dance of death, with Naomi weaving the ship through gaps barely wider than the hull, while Zara called out warnings with uncanny precision, seconds before dangers appeared. The hegemony ships followed, their superior maneuverability nearly offsetting the Vesper's head start. "One down," Zara announced, as the lead pursuer miscalculated and clipped an asteroid, sending it spinning into a larger rock. The resulting explosion briefly illuminated the field around them. "Two to go," Naomi replied, her knuckles white on the controls. "And we're losing power to the starboard stabilizers." There, Zara pointed to a massive asteroid looming ahead, its surface riddled with deep crevices. "Into that fissure. Are you insane? We'll never fit. Trust me." Something in her voice, absolute certainty without a hint of doubt, made Naomi hesitate only briefly before angling the ship toward what appeared to be a suicidal maneuver. The Vesper scraped through the narrow opening, paint and outer plating, sheared away by the unforgiving rock walls. Behind them, one of the pursuers attempted to follow and became wedged, its engines flaring desperately before going dark. The fissure opened into a hollow cavity within the asteroid, a vast chamber, likely created by some ancient impact. Naomi cut the engines and let the ship drift, activating only the emergency lights. "Now we wait," Zara said quietly. In the dim red glow, they sat in silence for several minutes. Finally, Naomi turned to her companion. "How did you know this? Was here?" "I've hidden in this field before, during the early days of the rebellion." Zara's expression grew distant. "Before Ashkara. The battle where you supposedly died?" Naomi hesitated. "What really happened there?" Zara was quiet for so long that Naomi thought she wouldn't answer. When she finally spoke, her voice was low, almost a whisper. "Ashkara was to be our triumph, the moment when the Lithari resistance would show the galaxy that the hegemony could be defeated." Her fingers traced the pulsing markings on her arm. "I led 10,000 fighters against their central command station. We had intelligence, preparation, the element of surprise. But we had a traitor. Someone sold our plans to the hegemony high command. They were waiting." Zara's eyes closed briefly. 8,000 of my people died that day. The survivors were hunted across the stars. "And you?" "I was captured, interrogated. When they could extract nothing more, they scheduled my public execution." A cold smile touched her lips. "They underestimated my people's loyalty. A small team infiltrated the prison transport. I escaped, but at great cost. Every rescuer died ensuring I reached a ship." Naomi watched her carefully. "So you've been hiding since then?" "Not hiding, rebuilding." Zara turned to her. The resistance was shattered but not destroyed. Scattered cells remained throughout the outer rim, waiting for a signal to reunite. "And that's what they're after you for? To prevent you from rallying the resistance again?" "Partly." Zara touched her armor, which rippled in response. "But primarily for this. Lithari battle tech, encoded to my genetic signature, the last of its kind." Before Naomi could ask more, the proximity alert pinged softly. The final pursuer was searching the asteroid, scanning methodically. "They're persistent," Naomi whispered. "Executor Wren leads that ship," Zara replied, her voice hardening. "He would chase me beyond the edge of the galaxy if ordered." "Personal history? He was my student once before the hegemony turned him." Something like regret flashed across her features. "Now he hunts what he once revered." The scanner showed the hegemony ship drawing closer to their hiding place. Naomi tensed, hand hovering over the weapons controls. "We can't outrun them with the damage we've taken." "No," Zara agreed, "but we can outthink them." She studied the asteroid field displayed on the view screen. There, that cluster of smaller rocks near the Carillion twin suns. If we can reach it, the solar radiation will mask our signature long enough to slip away. That's a big if, with half our stabilizers gone. Zara's silver eyes met Naomi's. "You pulled me from a crashed ship on a toxic moon, Corporal. I believe you're capable of more than you admit. Flattery will get you killed in this case. Nevertheless, Naomi began powering up the engines. Hold on to something, this is going to get rough. They burst from the asteroid like a bullet from a gun, startling the hunting ship. By the time the hegemony vessel turned to pursue, the Vesper was weaving through the densest part of the field, using the larger rocks as shields. Incoming! Naomi called as weapons fire streaked past them. A glancing hit rocked the ship, sending warning lights flashing across the console. Zara moved with inhuman speed, rerouting power through secondary systems. We've lost rear shields. One more hit there and we're finished. The twin suns loomed ahead, their combined glare filling the viewport as Naomi pushed the failing engines to their limit. The pursuing ship closed the distance, its weapons charging for a killing shot. We're not going to make it, Naomi gritted out. Zara's hand closed over hers on the controls. Yes, we will. She pressed a sequence on her armor, which began to glow with increasing intensity. When I say now, cut all power except life support. What are you? Trust me. The pursuing ship fired. Time seemed to slow as the plasma bolt streaked toward them. Now! Zara shouted. Naomi slammed the emergency shutdown. The Vesper went dark, drifting forward on momentum alone. Simultaneously, Zara's armor erupted in blinding light, sending a pulse of energy outward that caught the incoming plasma bolt and redirected it toward the hegemony ship. The hunter vessel swerved desperately but couldn't avoid its own weapon. The blast tore through its port engine, sending it spiraling out of control. Restart engines, Zara commanded, her voice strained. Her armor dimmed and she sagged against the console. Naomi complied, then stared at her. What the hell was that? Lithari battle tech. It takes a toll. Zara's skin had paled, the markings beneath now pulsing erratically. But it bought us time. They limped into the solar radiation field, where the superheated plasma from the twin stars would mask their energy signature. Once safely hidden, Naomi turned to Zara, who was attempting to regulate her breathing. You could have mentioned you had a built-in weapon system. It's not a weapon. It's a shield, designed to protect. Zara gestured to her weakened state. And as you can see, not without cost. Naomi ran a hand through her short hair, processing the implications. So what now? We've escaped, barely. But that won't be the last of them. The hegemony doesn't strike me as the forgive and forget type. No, Zara agreed. They are not. She straightened slowly. There is a place we can go. A sanctuary where remnants of the resistance have gathered. From there we can contact others. And then we fight. Zara's eyes met Naomi's, silver fire against human determination. If you choose to join us. Naomi considered the woman before her, a legend brought to life, carrying the hopes of countless oppressed worlds on her shoulders. Then she thought of her mundane posting on Terex 9, the endless routine, the feeling that she was meant for something more. I'm a scout, not a revolutionary, she said finally. But I'm a decent pilot, I know hegemony patrol routes, and apparently I'm good at rescuing alien commanders. She extended her hand. So yeah, I'm in. Zara clasped Naomi's hand in the Lithari warrior's grip, forearm to forearm. The path ahead will not be easy, Corporal Rhodes. Nothing worth doing ever is, Naomi replied with a half-smile. And for the record, if we're going to be starting a galactic revolution together, you should probably call me Naomi. As the damaged scout ship drifted in the shadow of the twin suns, an unlikely alliance was forged. A human scout with nothing left to lose, and a legendary commander thought dead by the galaxy. Neither could know that their partnership would become the catalyst for the greatest resistance movement the cosmos had ever witnessed, or that their names would one day be whispered as symbols of hope on 1,000 worlds. For now, they simply plotted a course to sanctuary while behind them, the stars burned with the promise of battles yet to come.